In the previous episode, episode 7, I talked about how the journey towards becoming truly data-driven must start with a really clear understanding of what data-driven really means, both generally and specifically for your own unique business. I said that when you build a data strategy from that starting point, the journey towards becoming data-driven becomes really clear, and it consists of just 3 parts: understanding your business goals, translating those business goals into data goals, and then translating those data goals into data capabilities. I'm going to cover the second of those steps in this video because whilst your business goals should of course be contained within your business strategy and your business plan, there's often a question about what are data goals and what do data goals look like? What if you're struggling to translate your business goals into data goals? In this video, I'll tell you how to define data goals based on the business goals that they're meant to drive, and also linked to the data capabilities that are required to achieve them. Setting clear data goals is a surprisingly common challenge, and it sounds like it should be easy, right? There's often loads of people in the business asking for what sound like data goals, whether it's enhanced analytics or improved data services. But honing those sort of high-level data wish list requirements into specific data goals, that's challenging because it poses 2 fairly chunky questions. The first fundamental question is, how can data help our business to achieve its goals? The second following question is, what needs to be done in order to make that happen? That second question is actually more about data capabilities than it is about data goals, and that's something I'll be covering in a future video, so if you're interested in that, make sure you subscribe and hit that bell icon to be notified when I do. But for now, let's just focus solely on that first question: how can data help our business to achieve its goals? And there's 2 reasons why that can be a surprisingly difficult question to answer. Firstly, there's often an inaccurate perception that we already have the answer to that question. We've already got a reasonably good sense of how data is going to help the business to achieve its goals. After all, how many times have you heard people in your business talk about the need for new reports or new dashboards, or for data-driven automation to be streamlining those processes? So as I said, there's often this perception that we've already got a fairly reasonable grasp of how data is going to help our business to achieve its goals. So it can come maybe as a bit of a surprise when someone like a business analyst starts applying some scrutiny and asks not just what is it you need from the data, but also why, and then how. How is having that actually going to help? So we start to think about the reality of how we're going to generate real-world benefit from data solutions, that we can sometimes begin to realize that what we thought were the data goals aren't going to be as beneficial as we maybe first expected. Additionally, data solutions can often be inescapably complex to deliver. Producing new data insights, for example, can often necessitate plenty of changes, not just in IT and in technology, but also in the business processes that use those data insights. It's easy to say something like, we need these new reports or we need these new analyses, but it's not always as simple as that to deliver. When data outcomes begin to look more complex than we first imagined, it's only natural that we might want to try and maneuver around those, or in some cases back away from those data requirements altogether. So whether it's because the anticipated benefit starts to unravel on closer inspection, or simply because they are harder to deliver than maybe we first thought, data goals do have this nasty habit of being harder to pin down than we expected. So how can we make it easier to set data goals? Like so many other aspects of effective data management, the answer is as much about people as it is about data. Over many years of experience of defining data goals, I found that it's really helpful to redefine that question of how can data help our business to achieve its goals, and instead think about it slightly differently as, what jobs do we need our data to do? To realize data as an asset, we first need to think about data as an asset. We can't afford to give data a free ride, right? It brings along with it all sorts of costs and risks and complexities, so we need to put data to work and make it earn its keep. Starting with that mindset, we can then realize that there's fundamentally just 3 ways that data earns its keep. That's right, there's just 3 kinds of job that we need data to do. Data job number 1 is to provide insight and intelligence through analytics and data science. Data job number 2 is to streamline and enhance operations through things like automation and AI. And then data job number 3 is to generate revenue through the sale of data and sale of data products. Broadly, those 3 jobs for data translate into learning from data through insights and analytics, working better through data-driven automation, and commercializing data, right? Data commercialization, selling data products. Now think about it, every single possible data-driven benefit falls into just one or more of those three categories. And that's really helpful because it gives us a nice simple lens to start approaching that key question of what are the jobs that we need our data to do. By segmenting data goals in this way, you're going to achieve three things. So you can direct the focus of your data goals towards valuable outcomes and not just outputs. You're also going to make sure that all of the opportunities for data value are considered. And then finally, you're going to help business stakeholders who own the requirements to feel a little bit more comfortable with this big question of what is it you want from your data. So now that you've set the scene for your data goals, we need to zoom in, of course, into some deliverable specifics. And a really great way to do that is to use a technique very similar to requirements user stories. So if you're not familiar with user stories, lots of information online, of course, all about user stories, but it's just basically a really simple and easy to understand way of gathering and documenting requirements. So a user story is made up of three parts. We simply say that as a personal process, I need this output so that I can achieve this outcome. You can use a similar approach to defining data goals by using what I call a data goal story. The parts of a data goal story are, firstly, to achieve this business goal, then data will do this job by delivering this outcome with this data-driven output, and then specifically with this data-driven solution. This technique is really powerful because it not only captures all of the necessary data requirement headlines, but it does that in a way which is both linked very clearly to your business's goals and also translated into a high level of an understanding of what the data solutions need to be. The other really nice thing about it is that all this information can be captured in a nice simple spreadsheet. So let me show you an example. So in this example, we can see those parts of a data goal story captured in simple spreadsheet columns, right? So the first column is, as I mentioned, to achieve this business goal. The example here of a business goal is ensuring financial viability. And this goal nicely comes with some extra detail which you can break down into the next column. So this business goal says we need to provide a strong and stable platform, bringing commercial focus and speed of decision making to our activities to fulfill our business vision. So the first part, data will provide a strong and stable platform. The next part then is by. So how's data going to do that? So data will provide a strong and stable platform by, examples here are being led and managed by the right people, being quality controlled, using the right data technology in the right way. The next part I mentioned is with. So that's what data's going to, or how data's going to do it, what data's going to do rather, how's data going to do it. So with, so example here is data being led and managed by the right people with a new branch of organization structure dedicated to attaining and maintaining levels of data capability and maturity. And then the final part of the data goal story I mentioned is specifically. So what specifically are we going to deliver or create in order to do that? In this example, it would be a team of analysts and developers reporting to a head of data. You can look at other examples here. So again, we're saying data will provide a strong and stable platform by being quality controlled with the devising and implementation of new data processes, specifically data governance policies and procedures, data quality standards. So just a couple of examples there of what a data goal story looks like. There's lots more detail here, but I'm sure you get the idea. So if you want your own copy of that spreadsheet, it is freely available. All you need to do is head on over to datastrategytoolkit.com, and that will enable you to unlock our data strategy management toolkit, which contains that spreadsheet and all sorts of other tools and templates and models that help you to become truly data-driven and not just data busy. So to summarize then, as with any other scenario, it's not just data, right? If you're setting the wrong goals, if you're failing to set the right goals, it's very unlikely you're going to achieve the right goals. And you'll end up spending lots of time and money and effort on chasing the wrong data goals, and that is what we call data busy, and it's the opposite of data driven. So to avoid ending up being just data busy, use the techniques that I've described in this video. Start by recognizing that there are just three types of job that we need data to do: learn from data, work better through data, or sell data. And then from that starting point, with that mindset, use the data goals story to translate business goals into the different ways that data are going to do those jobs and the specific data outputs and outcomes that we need to target. The data goals, of course, one of the things that we put at the beginning of a data strategy. So if you're compiling a data strategy and you want some help with that, just head on over to datastrategy.how. There you'll find a complete, in-depth, comprehensive guide containing all the information that you need. So the last thing for me to say is, I hope you found this video useful. If you have, please like and subscribe, and if you click that bell icon, you'll get notified when I upload my next video about how to get data done.